All right, kia ora, happy new year everyone. Let's talk Agent 365. You probably heard about this late last year. This is a new development from Microsoft. So let's get into it and explore everything that you need to know to leverage Agent 365 in your environment. All right, here's what we're going to cover. Firstly, what is Agent 365? We'll then talk about how to enable it in your tenant. We'll then get hands-on with a demo. I'll show you some of the features. We'll explore current limitations and wrap up. All right. Firstly, what is Agent 365? Well, simply put, Agent 365 is a governance tool that Microsoft have created for agents in your M365 tenant. Now, it's been really good to see this come along so early in the piece. This is something that in Power Platform land we didn't get for quite some time, and there were flows and Canvas apps all over the place. So it's been really encouraging to see Microsoft bring governance to the forefront with agents, as it is so critical. Now, a quick point to remember. Having a tool does not mean that you have a strategy for governing your agents. Now, Agent 365 is a really good tool to govern agents, but it is not the strategy. You're still going to have to provide that strategy work, and then Agent 365 will support you in the strategy that you come up with. All right, what does it do? Well, it surfaces all of the interactive agents in your tenant that have been published to a channel. Keep that in mind, that's going to be important later. It lets you view the agent in terms of what it does and its capabilities, and it lets you block agents, manage requests, and all that fun stuff, as well as view available MCP servers. All right, let's get hands-on. I'm going to show you how to enable it, and then some of the various features from the overview to the agents to the tools and the settings. So let me pop out of presentation mode, and let's go into my environment. So the first thing, how do we enable it? What you're going to want to do is go to this URL. Microsoft.com/en-us or whatever language you're using /Microsoft-agent-365. That's going to take you to this screen here, and you're going to click on Get Early Access. Once you do that, that's going to bring you into the Admin Center for M365. And you'll notice here along the right, we've now got an option for agents. This is Agent 365. So they've bifurcated some of the Copilot functionality, and so here under Copilot we can see the connectors and usage and all of that, and then under agents we can see the actual agents that are being used. Now the first thing we get here is this overview screen. We can see the registry, so there's 158 total agents in the org. That sounds about right. I've gone a little crazy building agents, so that sounds right. One active user, well, it's my demo environment, that makes sense. And then publishers, platform, okay, Copilot Studio, yes. Let's get into that. Active users, and then requests from users, ownerless agents, all that. So pretty cool stuff. All right. The next thing is this all agents. If we go here to the agent registry, that's going to take us here to all agents, and this is going to show us all the agents. So 158. Now, as I scroll through this is where I'm starting to get a little confused because I don't recall building these. I built a lot of agents, and I see one that I built here, but most of these agents are coming from external partners and publishers. So we'll talk in a second about what's going on here. But these are the agents that are available in my tenant, and I can manage them here from this screen. Now I can filter a bit. I can filter, say, who, does it come from Microsoft? Is it published by somebody in my org? It's been shared by the creator. In this case, these are the ones that I've built, and so I can filter on this. Now, let's pick on this first one here for Asana. Now, when I click on this, I can see the details for the agent. Now, the reason I see all of these is that these have been made available through things like M365 Copilot and other services that I might be consuming in my tenant, and so these agents are surfaced up. Now, they're not necessarily being used, but they're available. So you can start to see why this governance tool is really important. Now, I can see, so I get some details of it, its availability, what channels it's deployed to, who's using it. Now, I've updated this to say no users can install it. What data it uses, security, and any certification that's coming from the publisher. And then up here at the top, I can deploy it or I can block it. Now, what's the difference between saying no users can install it and blocking it? Well, let's say I've got people who are already using this agent in the organization, but I've determined that I don't want people using it. If I simply say no users can install it, that means anybody who doesn't already have this installed can't install it, but people who have already installed it can still keep using it. Whereas when I click block, that's going to block this from anyone. So anybody who is already using it will have it uninstalled, and anybody who doesn't have it will not be able to install it. So that's what blocking the agent does. All right, so that's the catalog of agents. Now, something else really cool I want to show you is this map. And so if I click here on map, Microsoft have created this really cool visualization that shows me where the agents are coming from. So you can see most of it is coming from outside of my organization. These are third-party partners. There's things like Simpatico and NetDocument and Alvo and OnePage and all these different things. Then I've got the Microsoft one, Sales and Researcher and App Builder and all of that. And then I've got my Copilot agents down here that I've published to a channel and made available. So it just gives me a visualization of the agents in my environment. Now I can click on the agent here, and it's going to give me, try it with one of the other ones, it's going to give me the same experience that I had with the agent catalog, where I can see the details of the agent, manage the availability, block it, deploy it, all of that. So really cool visualization tool from Microsoft. All right, so that's the Agents tab. The next thing, and I can filter this again by publishers, by availability, channels, and even the platform. All right, next up is tools. At the moment, what this is going to show is MCP servers that are available to agents in my environment. Now, MCP is kind of a thing right now. It is a very powerful tool, and so definitely something that you want to manage and govern within your environment, as agents hooked up to MCP have quite a lot of capabilities. And so definitely something you want to make sure that you keep track of in your environment, in your tenant. And so within here, I can see what this is. So this is my SharePoint one. And at the moment, I've got the ability to block. That's the only thing I can do. So I can determine which MCP servers are allowed and which ones are not. Finally, let's talk about the settings. Here in the settings, I can govern everything from the types of agents that I allow. So I might only allow things built by my organization or only things that are built by Microsoft. I can govern how these are shared. Now, if you come from a Power Apps or Power Automate background, this should look really familiar because I can determine who gets to share agents amongst the organization, same way you would with flows and Canvas apps. Now, down here under templates, this is really cool because this is a newer feature from Microsoft, and this is a template that has policies for agents. And so I can specify everything from whether we audit them in Purview, whether we have Entra policies that apply, SharePoint policies, and things like that. So this can all be defined and added here in Agent 365. Go back to our settings. Last thing is user access. I can govern which users can access agents. Now in my demo environment, I let everybody do it, but I can say no one can access them or only specific users or specific Entra groups within my environment can access agents. All right, so that is the very quick demo and overview of Agent 365. Let's pop back to our presentation. So we've seen how to enable it, and then the overview, agents, tools, and settings tabs that are available in Agent 365. All right, let's wrap it up. Limitations. The biggest limitation that I noticed with Agent 365 at the moment is that it appears to only support interactive agents that have been published to a channel. Remember I said to remember that because it's important later? This is where it applies. So I have built lots of agents in Copilot Studio over the last couple years, but I've only got 3 that are actually published to a channel and interactive in nature, which is why those were the only 3 that showed up. So that's what appears in Agent 365. Autonomous agents aren't showing up in there currently, at least as near as I can determine. Now, this is something that's going to be really interesting to watch because autonomous agents are an interesting one from a governance point of view because they are not published. They are triggered by a system event. And so it'll be interesting to see how Microsoft handle the governance of these, whether that's handled in Agent 365 or somewhere else. But that is a critical piece that's going to require some overview in terms of what autonomous agents are in my system. What are they doing? And so I'm keen to see how Microsoft progress this to include autonomous agents in the future. So that is the quick and dirty overview of Agent 365, the new governance tool from Microsoft for agents in your tenant. Go do something awesome on the Power Platform today, and I'll talk to you soon.